if I could go back in time and tell someone something, I'd probably go back to everyone who ever like fucked with me in the past or ever hurt me in the past, and tell them first to go fuck themselves, but secondly, I would thank them probably. I'm a creative, I'm a child of the universe, I'm a traveler. My name is Andrew Diemer. After I've gathered all the information of like what I want to do and what I think will work well, I take all that information and kind of synthesize it into a like tentative sketch. It's not very perfected in this one. It's really pretty loose. I'm just kind of working out the ideas of what I want to do. Then what I did was I traced over this in ink on tracing paper and blew it up on a scanner so it's a little larger. And I traced over this again to transfer it to the final surface. And in the tracing, you can see I kind of changed the tentacles slightly, added one or two, took one away. And that's what I really like about doing a few different incarnations, is that you can change it during the process, so you're not all changing it at the end when you've got it already transferred. As Nancy was going under, the woman who had given her the shot asked her how old she was. Nancy was determined not to answer, but discovered that the drug had made her powerless not to answer. 63, she murmured. How does it feel to be a virgin at 63? Nancy heard her own answer through a velvet fog. She was amazed by the answer, wanted to protest that it couldn't possibly be hers. Pointless, she'd said. People say, vitamin D, whatever, get out in the sunlight, it's not good to stay inside all day, but I think legitimately there's a reason kind of bigger than that, and I don't think it's not like where a plant photosynthesizes sunlight and creates, like glucose. It's kind of more, instead of physical food that you actually gain energy from, it's the kind of like spiritual food, just being outside, being among trees, being in the sunlight. That's important, and not a lot of people some people don't really get to do that very often.
I want to be anyone else already existing. I'd want to be something else that I'm already not, kind of, if that makes any sense. I created this other persona though called Curtis, who's kind of like when I'm like being a pussy about something or not doing something, too worried to do something, not sure of something, Curtis comes in and he sits me down and he's like, you need to fucking do this because you're not a pussy, because I know you're not a wanker. And it's kind of like, it's kind of there to motivate me by calling me names and things. But my relationship with Curtis has kind of changed because I've changed myself, kind of. See, like, Curtis is, like, I created Curtis because he sticks to his gut, to his instincts. He likes what he looks like. He's appreciative of what he looks like. He's kind of I myself am kind of hedonistic in some ways. Like, I enjoy pleasure. I enjoy pleasurable things, but I'd say Curtis is more of a hedonist in terms of actual sexual relations and things like that. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but my relationship has changed with that sort of alternate person because I've started taking better care of myself and my self-esteem has improved, so it's less of this person inside of me like bullying me and telling me to do things, and it's more of them being like, yeah, good job, like, finally, you're not such a fucking idiot, Decided I was gonna shave my head again so that I could not reconnect with it, but just because I really enjoyed being bald. I really like the way I look being bald, and that's one thing that Curtis is kind of like big on, is doing things for yourself instead of other people. That's what he's kind of there to help you with. Because, like, I know a lot of people who are like, oh, you have such nice hair, or, I really like the way your hair is, don't cut it. But the truth is, I'm kind of stuck between what other people like and what I like, and I really like being bald, so that's what I'm gonna do.
If I could say anything to anyone in the past, present, or future, I know I would say, I would probably just have a whole list of thank yous to people, like people who inspire me. Like, I know if I could go back in time, I would try and find a way to like interact with people, like my favorite painters or something, or my favorite artists, my favorite musicians, without like changing what they end up doing, because in the long run, you know, like someone like Vincent van Gogh, I'd want to go back in time and say, like, thank you for creating what you created and being who you are. But I wouldn't want to change his destiny and make him like live happily ever after, because part of what's so inspiring about someone like that is that he lived a life that was so passionate, so full of creativity, and the world like wasn't ready for his ability, it wasn't ready for what he was doing, so it kind of cast him out like a leper and ended up allowing him to destroy himself. And something like that, to me, although it sounds really like morbid, is still kind of inspiring, because it's kind of like, I mean, in what I do with art and everything, the goal is always to be original, always to do something new. And that's really hard to do now, especially with like the internet, because you get exposure to everything. And when someone is kind of on a separate vein of thought, that to me is truly inspiring. It makes me want to do better and be more creative, be more unique. If I could do anything at this moment in time, at this point in my life, I would just travel. There's a memory I have of, you know, the first time I rode my bike through Manhattan, really riding it everywhere, and feeling so small and so little and minuscule, and thinking that was just like one of the most sublime things I'd ever felt.